Hello there, good morning, and you're watching QTV's This Morning. I am your host, Gina Bass, and joined by my usual co-host, the amazing Ibrahim Balde.
Gina, it's good to be here.
Yes.
It's another Thursday morning.
And we're wrapping up the week.
Yes, absolutely. So we are ready to flow with the vibes, the Thursday vibes. Yeah. This morning is back again. And I am so pleased to be here, Gina.
Yeah. Why you also have done lan?
Li cham creation.
Man suma grambu balan la.
Li yef si cham creation. Why xam na ne buñ démé ba ci diga dinañ xam lepp diga.
Wow, dinañ toj yax bi explain everything. Okay. So our Thursdays are our Fridays actually.
Definitely.
So we'll be using our Thursdays to do this.
Yesterday, buma don ñibi kër. I was like tay Friday la. Man Friday la. So ma ngi xalat numa sango solo be pare dem juma.
Okay.
Ma realize no, it's
Thursday, but anyway. Thank you so much for joining us, viewers. Like I said, you're watching QTV's This Morning program. So before we go into our motivational quote, my favorite segment of this program, I'll just give you a rundown of some of the things that we have for you today. So we'll be looking at motivational quote as usual. We have the newspaper review, and we'll be joined by Fatu Jawo to take us through some of these newspapers and, of course, help us analyze them. And Community Watch, Operation Clear the Roads, we'll be joined by our very own Ajibintu Drame to take us through Operations Clear the Road. And also social issues, we'll be taking a look at International Youth Day, and we'll be joined by the Speaker of the National Youth Parliament. And we will also have the sports update, and we'll be joined by Babukar C to take us through what is happening in the world of sports. So today is International Youth Day, set aside by the United Nations to draw attention in relation to the plight of young people. So wishing you all a happy International Youth Day to all young people. So it's a day where we sit, reflect on some of the things that have been happening, take a look at how we can change the environment that we term as conducive, if that exists. So I think it's a very important day to set aside. And the biggest part for me is the fact that we can reflect. Today is International Youth Day. What does it mean to you?
It's very important. It's a day for me to reflect. I mean, Jenaba, it's important for us to see how far have we gone as youths, you understand? Since the UN General Assembly established this day to be celebrated. And how far have the youths gone? And what are some of the achievements?
Okay.
And how far have we empowered the youth? So it's important. This day, it's a very significant day for us to sit and reflect and see how to adjust ourselves and you know, follow our dreams. I mean, so it's important. It's a very, very important day.
It is an important day.
Yeah. So what do we have on our program?
Yeah, so motivational quote, take us through.
Yes, thank you. I was discussing with Fra this morning. He said to me, this guy, I mean, he died way before your grandfather was born. So I know he's also a very good man when it comes to this stuff. I am thankful for all of those who say no to me. It's because of them I am doing it myself.
All right, and this is by Albert Einstein. Like he said, we were in, you know, half born even when he was putting across this particular quote. So what does this tell you? I am thankful for all of those who said no to me, and it's because of them I decided to do it myself.
Jenna, but when you look at this quote, it's telling you to get out of your comfort zone.
Okay.
You know, sometimes it is important for you to take up new challenges. You know, waking up in the morning, coming to work, it's a challenge. For people like me, I like to be on my bed all the time. So it's a challenge. So it's a matter of taking up yourself. You know, it's important to have people around sometimes who will be dragging you, you know, back and forth. So without those people, you will not be where you are today.
I totally agree. So sometimes it's not good to be getting yeses all the time. When you get yeses, like you mentioned, you will not go out of your comfort zone and work on something that you want to get. And like we've been saying on this particular platform, all of the people that we've been featuring on our motivational code, you will realize that these people have had the no several times and they decided to push. So like it says here, there are certain things that you do is because people tell you that you cannot do it. That is why you go for it sometimes. You know, and obviously it's also important to have mentors, to have people who always remind you that you will do it, But on the other hand, it's also good to have people who say no to you. And then you prove to them that this is something that you can do, you know?
Jenna,
and you would just rub it on their faces.
Jenna, but there are many ways to kill the cat. You understand? What he said here is, I am doing it myself.
Yeah.
You understand? So most of the time, because of certain comments from people, certain words from people, it makes you to get up on your feet and do something. You understand? So without those people, you will not have been where you are today.
Sure.
So it's important for us to have these things here and there to keep us moving. Sometimes when you think about them, you know, it gives you more confidence and courage to push. Jenna.
So we will look at the newspaper review. So on our motivational quote today, like we just said, I am thankful for all of those who said no to me. It's because of them I'm doing it myself. So you be there and be saying no to people, and just know that that no that you're telling people is actually going to make them do things on their own. But shout out to all our mentors as well, the people out there behind us who always tell us that these are things that we can achieve, because without them we won't get the encouragement as well. So the ones that are dragging us, keep on doing it. The ones that are motivating us, keep on doing it. It's left to you. So let's take a short commercial break, and when we come back we will take a look at the newspaper review. Like I said, we're joined by Fatou Jawa, and she'll be analyzing some of the stories that we have on the newspaper. Do stay tuned.
The best product in town is back. QCell's MiFi router. Get the best MiFi in the country for just $2,800 and connect up to 15 users with 4G internet speeds and a long-lasting battery life. So rush now to any of our customer care locations and get the best for less while stocks last. For more info, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Senior Boss, the Gambia's quality network. We innovate, others follow.
Welcome back, viewers, from that short commercial break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV's This Morning program. Ibrahima, now we'll go straight to the newspaper review. Like I said, we're joined by Fatou Jawa. What is on fire today?
Yes, Jenna, well, this is the most interesting part, the newspaper review. Let's take a look at Foria. Galga president calls on Gambians to handle KMC crisis with maturity.
Okay.
Gambia registers 9 new COVID-19 related deaths, 157 new cases. Wow. let's put on our face. Let's mask up. I mean, Gambia receives $1.5 billion from British Petroleum as settlement. Dr. Ismaila Cisse, Citizens Alliance to restructure NAWIC. National Human Rights Commission questions Gorgi Mbuub's reinstatement. Jenna, what's like this story is coming all the time.
Shows like its importance.
Yes, exactly. Guinea-Bissau Gambian ambassador dies. So this is what we have on the floor. Yeah.
We also have it on the Standard newspaper that Gambia's ambassador to Guinea-Bissau dies. May his soul rest in perfect peace. And we have 9 new COVID-19 deaths recorded. We also have Basenam Orges SIC to mediate between Barrow and Dabo. We also have Barrow Youths for National Development threatens to sue board. UDP will go to revising courts if necessary. Survey says only half of Gambians approve Barrow's performance. UTG earmarks 43 million for research. That's all we have on the Standard.
Okay, let's take a look at the Point newspaper. It's another repetition. Gambia gets back 1.5 billion from BP. Rapist gets 15 years imprisonment. COVID-19, Gambia registers 9 new deaths. Senegal 351. We don't have much on the Point newspaper today, Jennifer.
All right, so that is all on the Point newspaper. So like I said, we're joined by Fatou Jawa, and she'll be helping us analyze some of the stories that we have here. So on the Standard newspaper, Fatou Jawa, first of all, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Jennifer and Mr. Balde.
Okay. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be here always.
All right, great. So on the Standard newspaper, we have that Barrow Youth for National Development threatens to sue. So threatens to sue, probably let's put the threatens to sue aside because that's an internal matter. But my question has to do with youth movements that actually has to do with political parties. Today is International Youth Day, and young people, we called on them to participate in politics. So is this the right way for young people to actually participate in politics? When they be part of youth movements, does that give them a chance to actually be part of decision making directly when it comes to the affairs of such political parties?
Okay, thank you, Gina Bass, and I wish everybody, that is every young person out there, a happy International Youth Day. This is a day that we should reflect on how much we have gone and then what is at stake. Yeah. To just answer your question, I believe participating in politics can be in different ways.
Sure.
So as a youth leader, youth organizations usually are platforms that you take part in decision making, but not directly, because the youth organizations deal with usually going and advocating for what young people need or what the country or what everybody should go in for. You advocate. But when it comes to decision making process, it's either you join a political party or you join, let's say, that's the only way that you can actively take part in the decision-making process as per political means. Okay. So the Barrow Youth Movement, to me, it's not a political party. Okay. It's like any other registered organization that just want to help a particular person probably achieve their aims and objectives, but through political means. Yeah. Okay. So in this way, some of them might be actively taking part probably instead of being only members of the Barrow Youth Movement, but they might finally probably join the NPP. We have seen some of them that have been in the Barrow Youth Movement, and today they are within the youth component of the NPP. So I believe in that aspect, they're directly participating in politics, and as opposed to some of us that were in the youth fraternity, youth organization, because the youth organizations, one of the principle is that you have to be non-partisan, because we deal with issues and we are expected to deal with them objectively. So the moment you wear your partisan lens, you're not being objective in a sense that you just want to side with what your party needs or what their interest is. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Fatu, let's look at this. We are celebrating International Youths today, and Barrow youths are threatening to sue board. The reason behind them coming together as a youth movement is to empower themselves. So do you think the youths deserve this? Because there are many things that are not correctly put in place when it comes to the youth movement. So what about if the youths are complaining here and there, threatening to sue? Do you think they are given what they deserve?
Do I get it right? They're threatening to sue who?
To sue the chairman of the board.
Of the Barrow Youth Movement?
Yes.
Okay. I believe that gave rise to us saying that probably something is fundamentally wrong, because they're in the same organization, and if they're threatening to sue their chairman, then that's because something is wrong. So if, like you said, if they got what they wanted, I'm not sure it would get to a point where they would threaten to sue. But then I want to believe that has to do with their internal issues, which we might not be privy to.
Exactly.
So
the reason I ask that question, it's anything for the youths. This is for the youths, you understand? The reason why that organization was formed is for the youths, to empower them. And I know some of their objectives and some of their constitutions, it is written to empower the youths, you understand? But the youths are complaining.
There is one thing about Gambia. When they say this is for the youth, or youth council, or youth board, or youth this, you'll be surprised to know that positions that are to be occupied by young people are usually occupied by people that are 40 years above, and they call themselves youth. But we know there is a clear distinction or definition of who a young person is. It's from 13 to 35. So if you are out of that bracket and then you are labeled as a youth, in Gambia is very common. So I believe it's the same thing that is going on. because the name itself suggests that it's a Barrow youth movement, and it's nothing else but the youth. So their objective would be to promote the agenda of young people in that organization. So I believe that it is the same thing. The old people would usually come with respect to them. They would come and hijack something that is specifically for young people, and I believe that might be the reason why they threaten to.
Yeah, no, it's important for us to clarify this. Most of our organizations, our organizations, they'll be calling a particular set of people youths, and you'll see a man of 50 years, I mean, in that organization taking up certain positions. You understand? I can remember there was a time the CEO, Mohamed Jah, came to the office when we were having our meeting. He said, "Yangi talk fufu nunu, yangi am 40, nga fok ne youth ka. Man bu ma neke 18 last time di gene dépense."
Amazing.
So interesting.
So moving on, survey says only half of Gambians approve Barrow's performance. This is what the survey says. So it seems it's a divide. Half is saying he's performing well, half is saying he's not. And another survey recently as well has highlighted that corruption, the government is turning a blind eye to corruption. So all of these things probably can contribute when it comes to this survey saying only half of Gambians approve Barrow's performance. So today, if you are given an opportunity to actually assess the performance of this particular government, what areas would you pinpoint that actually need improvement?
Yeah, thank you so much. I think this is very important because it deals with the government that has to decide on how we should be governed, how we should live our lives, and even if we have to die today or not, it is their responsibility. So my opinion would be on the issue of the areas that they need to work on. That is infrastructural development is one area that I believe this government is not doing much. I'm not saying they're not doing anything, but there is a room for improvement. And infrastructure in a sense that you look at the traffic. That is everybody's problem. And I believe even the government officials or those in authority are even suffering from the same thing. Because like I will use an example from myself. I live in Farato. Every day I travel from Farato to Fajara to go to work. So if I mount the roads at 7 a.m., I will get to my office probably 9 or 10. So 3 hours. And after the Tobaski, I spend 20 minutes from Farato to Westfield. So it is telling you we need proper roads. That is one area of it. And the other area is they need to bring a lot of investment, build factories and companies, and help the young people and every citizen to benefit from the tax they are paying and the loyalty that they're giving to their country. Because we don't have much employment. It's really sad that people would finish university and you will be scrambling for jobs. So I believe the government also needs to increase the job employment opportunities. Like the US, when the new president came, you can see from the reports that they have increased the job opportunities from a certain level to which is really something that I think every government should do because employment is needed. So that is one area that I believe.
Okay, so now Fatu, you talked about 2 areas that you think need improvement, and in this particular survey, only half Gambians approve Barrow's performance. So probably the other half accepts Barrow's performance. So what performances do you accept from the Barrow government?
Well, the performance that I will accept first has to do with the fact that they have given us the space to exercise our democratic values, because it's the hard fact that today we are sitting and analyzing a sitting president or a sitting government's performance, and we would even have the courage to criticize. And I think that tolerance from the government and the fact that they respected what we are, it's not like they gave us that freedom. We already have it because it is in the constitution that they must guarantee it. So the fact that they have honored that part of their obligation is one aspect that I would rate the government on when it comes to human rights, on the aspect of, let's say, civic and political rights.
Okay.
But when it comes to social justice rights, I would say they are not doing much, because if you look at the educational system, if you look at the health system, healthcare, that is a no-go area, because we have seen a lot of women dying because probably don't have blood, they don't have proper health facilities to take care of them, and it's on the rise. So we would have to question our health system, and the educational system too is another problem. People would want to have degrees, but sometimes you see the quality of education that is given to, especially in public schools. If you have the means, be honest, I will not send my child to a public school, as opposed to Rwanda. Today, their private schools are even crying for the government to subvent some of these private schools in order for them to be functional, because the public schools have everything that you need. So these are areas that they really need to work on. Yeah.
I'm interested in that democracy you mentioned. Let's look at democracy. Can you tell us, for those watching, what democracy is? Because we are open to our new democracy in this country, and people are misusing it. You know, there is a time that I will hear people saying, legacy democracy like neka.
Sure.
This is a word that people utter all the time. Can you clarify what democracy is?
Yeah, just to validate your point, I was in a taxi some time back, that was 2 years ago, and somebody was saying a lot of things that were not proper. And when I said, what you were saying is not really good, he was like, we are in a democratic state, you can say whatever you want. And that is misleading. If you talk about democracy, it means rule of law. It means the citizens have the sovereign rights to decide for who should lead them and how they should be led. So it's very simple. It's the government that is constituted by the people, and it should be for the people, and then that's it. So democracy in essence is rule of law. It means separation of powers, meaning that the executive cannot exercise or dictate what the National Assembly members should do, or the judiciary to interfere. So everybody have a line to stop. And they would also, it also means the National Assembly checking on the executive and bringing them to account. All those things are qualities of democracy. But the most important part is the rule of law. That everything that you're doing, it has to conform to what the regulations and the laws of society say. So anything outside that is not democracy, it's really alien to democracy. I think we need to understand that.
Yeah, I think it's very important.
Interesting, Gina.
Yes. So moving on, we have Gambia. Activists call for inclusion in implementation of new migration policy. So activists are saying that they want to be involved in the implementation of the new migration policy. And maybe we are talking about migration, but the explanation of this can be generalized for them. Because sometimes in the Gambia we talk about implementations of certain things, and you just mentioned that for young people without young people. So what is the importance of when things are being implemented that targets a specific group, having those people involved in it to ensure the smooth implementation of a project or, let's say, a framework?
Yeah, let's say you're giving something for you. Obviously, you know your problems better than I. So you have technocrats, you have people that have the money, they have the capacity to help a certain group of people. So, but they don't have the facts, the issues really that affect those people. So if they sit there and speculate, maybe these people are affected by this, and they calculate that way and they just disburse funds and want to implement activities, it wouldn't work. So you have to engage the people that are stakeholders or partners to make sure it works. Like this place, the activists are the ones that are saying it. I think they have a genuine concern, because in civil society, I've been in civil society for over 10 years now. What most of these agencies would do, they would only invite you after doing everything just to occupy the space that, okay, civil society were part of it, just to make it look that it was all inclusive. But in reality, it wasn't. So if you want to include me in something, it has to be from the foundation. You can't just do everything and then you just ask me to adopt whatever that you come up with. So I believe it's important if something is meant for a particular group, and you have people that should come together and iron out the real issues. So I think that is really important, and it's necessary that those interested to be involved.
Thank you so much, Fatou Jawa. We really appreciate your time, and happy International Youth Day, considering the fact that you've been in activism for the past 10 years. Thank you so much for coming on the program. So moving on, we have Gina Bass arrival. We want to show you some of the activities that are happening there. Our track queen, she calls herself the Poor Olympian. I just hope the moment she steps in Gambia today, that name will be removed and she will get to have a better life. So let's take a look at her arrival there.
Yes, now you can help me.
Naka man mënuma xam li comme déedéet mu bul wax loolu di mu bi dafa rëy.
In Rio, she could not reach the semi-finals. She came to Japan and reached the semi-finals on both track, which is the 100 meters and the 200 meters. And now she will prefer to get the necessary support that is needed to prepare herself for the games that are coming. In fact, even before the France 2024 Olympics, there are the Islamic Games coming, the Commonwealth Games coming. You know, a lot of championships that are underway coming, and she has also joined many Gambians in saying if she is moved from Senegal to other camps, higher camps for that matter, in the Americas and the like, she will be able to compete with those top athletes that are going for the gold and silver. Don't forget that she was with Talou of Ivory Coast in Senegal, who before the Olympics left for the Americas, and we saw her competing in both the finals of the 100 meters and the 200 meters. So if she is accorded the same opportunity to go and train, in a more equipped facility, we expect her to be in the finals, of course, come France or Paris 2024. This is the situation right now. Hundreds of vehicles, of course, have been lined up here, including sports enthusiasts, those that love the sports, the department from where she hails from, the police, athletes, former athletes, present athletes are all here, on the very, very long queue of a convoy that is from the airport heading to the GNOC, which is the Gambia National Olympic Committee, before we take the final step to the police headquarters where he will meet the Inspector General of Police. Janaba, back to you.
That the sound is not very, very good, but just to remind you that that is Gina Bass' arrival in the country from Tokyo, and she qualified for the 100 meters as well as the 200 meters for semi-finals in both, but was unable to head to the final.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, but that doesn't mean she didn't do it big, because we talked about the fact that in other countries the facilities that they have, Gina doesn't have, and she's able to reach that stage. We're so proud of her.
Exactly, Janaba. Looking at the fact that Gina tried her best to be there, and she's really tried at the Olympic in Japan. And of course, now that the Olympic Committee, all the committees that are responsible for sports like the one she does, they should now look at things that Gina Bass should get, not only Gina, but Ibrahima Kamara and other athletes.
Yeah.
So it's important for us to see how best to adjust ourselves to make sure next Olympic, I mean, we go very far.
And There's something very important. The minister yesterday delivered his International Youth Day statement, and he talked about the fact that now we have an inspiration, which is Gina Bass, and the fact that we shouldn't lose hope because we've also qualified for the African Cup of Nations. So I think sports in the Gambia, if it's pushed, there are a lot of places that will be.
1-2, Mike. 1-2,
just
1-2.
putting things at the right place. That is,
wow.
The best facilities, you know, the best coaches, the best training.
We have got 6.
You know, and of course, try to motivate. Motivation is also very important.
Audio.
You understand? We've all seen the name that was put on Gina, that is the poor athletic. That is, most people,
okay,
if you say Gina Bass, they tell you the poor athletic from Africa, from Gambia. And Gina, I am not really happy that I didn't see
a lot of people welcoming
Gina.
Okay.
So it would have been another way. We would have gone out and welcome her, because Gina, it's going to be part of our history book forever, because of the things that she's done for this country. She's an icon. She's a legend. So it's important for us to at least accept our own and support our own Gina.
Yeah. So now that France is coming up, she's gearing up for that. Training starts now, and hopefully she'll be able to bring gold for us. And we also have to say that we're not just depending on Gina. There are other Ginas out there, and for those other Ginas to come out, like you mentioned, there needs to be incentives put together. So viewers, we will go for a short commercial break, and when we come back, we will head right on to the Community Watch. Like I mentioned, we will be joined by our very own Ajibintu Drame, and she'll be talking about Operation Clear the Road. So let's take a look at that. When we come back, we'll be joined by Ajibintu Drame on Operation Clear the Road.
Step into the future of television with sleek and slim design Samsung Smart TVs, ranging in size from 32 to 75 inches and in different technologies: Smart LED, Crystal UHD, Ultra High Definition, and QLED Quantum Dot LED. Get new ways of interacting with your TV as our TVs offer an unparalleled vision adventure from the comfort of your living room. Ultra viewing angle, powerful picture quality, web browser, gallery, EarthNet LAN, wireless LAN built-in, Bluetooth, screen mirroring technology, mobile on TV mirroring, built-in voice assistance, Wi-Fi direct. Not only that, our TVs are backed with 12 months warranty, and we are currently on a promotion. Contact us on 333-3217.
Welcome back, viewers, from that short commercial break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV's This Morning program. I am your host, Gina Bass, and I'm joined by my amazing co-host, Ibrahim Balde. Like I mentioned, we just saw Gina Bass' arrival. We will get back to that shortly, but right now we'll be taking a look at our Community Watch, and we are joined by our colleague Ajibintu Drame, and she'll be taking us through Operation Clear the Road. But before she takes us through that, let's take a look at the story she did, and when we come back we'll get to engage her about this particular story that she did on Operation Clear the Road. Do stay tuned.
That started in Birkama in the West Coast region is gaining momentum. At the Coastal Road Market, there had been some encouragement into the road, resulting in traffic congestion and the risk of accidents. Stalls and tables installed by vendors were removed. This has prompted the vendors to come back to the highway to sell their products, with some blaming the lack of space inside the market. Mam Cherno Sen is a street vendor who sits in the market to sell but encourages onto the highway at noon.
I truly support the initiative because where we sell is close to the road. A vehicle can plunge into vendors at any time. I'm in support of this, but let the authorities provide a safe place for us, because you cannot remove us without giving us an option.
Waste management is a serious problem here. Gina Bass used to have a canteen beside the road for 14 years. She says that when stalls were erected by the road, the place was better because vendors used to clean the waste or pay wheelbarrow users to clear it. Since Friday, when we were removed from our stalls, we went inside the market to sell our wares. But wherever we place our wares is occupied by others. The market is very congested. We can't sell inside the market. Ibrahim Njai, who has been selling in the market since it was set up in 2007, shares his thoughts on Operation Clear the Streets.
Just to make things clear, the people on the road have places in the market, but they don't want to sell inside the market because they believe they won't make sales. The correct thing is that we should be selling at respective stalls without obstructing anyone. Let us speak the truth. This market is ours. We must develop it and not leave everything to the government.
Ajibintu Drame, QTV News.
From that short break, that story by Ajibintu Drame on Operation Clear the Road. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. So some of the vendors there that you've engaged talked about the fact that they are happy with the fact that the Operation Clear the Road exists because they're too close to the market. So did you engage the authorities in relation to them providing space for these people? Because they talked about the fact that they don't have a problem with it, but they would want to also have a decent place to sell. So did you engage at any time any of the authorities in relation to this?
Okay, that was not given immediately, but I have spoken to some vendors inside the market, and they have said these vendors who sell at the mouth of the market or on the road have spaces inside the market. But for some reason best known to them, for example, they will sell at the mouth of the market to make quick sales, which is not acceptable to them, and it is not correct. So because a lot of the vendors I engage, they will say there is lack of space. The market is congested. They don't have spaces. Sometimes if they go, because since they have removed them and Costa Road specifically, since they removed them since Friday, they didn't have places to go to. So if they go inside the market, some other vendors tell them that is their place and they don't know where to go, and they will go back straight to the road and sell. Although it is a welcome initiative for them, but they are asking for alternative. They need options. If they remove them from their spots, because I have spoken to people who are street hawkers there, they only stay there for a period of time and go home. But some, for example, since it started from Birkama, now gaining momentum to Costa Road, some erected stalls there for over 30 years, 14 years. So you can see these people were making their living there. They have adopted that place.
So it's not like they don't have a place inside the market, but they just want quick sales. That's why they're outside. So they don't lack space.
No, they don't. Because I went inside the Costa Road market to see if what they were saying is true. But I have found some empty spaces there, and I spoke to a person, Ibrahim, who was there since the market was set up in 2007, saying that, so he was giving us a synopsis or genesis on how the market started, and saying there are lacks of spaces and people selling at the mouth or on the road have spaces there. So just to make quick sales, they sell
go outside.
Yes, we understand that this operation started a week or so. Were you able to engage the police and GRA,
the authorities,
whether this thing is going to be sustainability? It's very important. Were they able to go back to Brikama and see whether the place is erected, whether they are still putting stalls there again?
Yeah, from the time I was reporting this story at Birkama, they were there, but you will find some vendors going back to their spot, like what I just mentioned here, because they don't have enough spaces there, or they don't want to sell inside the market. They will go back to their spot to, sell for that day. So that is how they are doing every day. They will go back to their spots every day at the streets to sell. So at Costa Road, same thing happens there. So it is like what you just mentioned, people are even asking, because we know sustainability is a problem. Will it continue? Because it is not only about street vendors there or people who erected stalls. It's about vehicles too. Vehicles parked on the road.
Yes, I've seen the police car towing a vehicle. And also they were walking on piles of gravel on the street and anything that caused obstruction on the street. Yes.
So Aji, thank you so much for the update so far, but I'm afraid we have to go with Gina Bass' arrival with Babukar C. So let's take a look at that.
Babukar, can you hear us?
So right now they're at the Olympic House, as you can see, Olympic House right there. So and it is normal that Gina's first stop is at the Olympic House, obviously, because it's the representative in the Gambia when it comes to Olympics. So hopefully when they get in there, then they will have discussions in relation to the whole competition, way forward, preparing for France and all of that. And I'm looking forward to conversations as such.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's important. And Geneva, let us don't forget the committee, the Olympic Committee. They have also done their best, although sometimes they complain about lack of resources.
Sure.
We don't have this, we don't have that. But even though they don't have enough, but they've tried to at least, motivate Gina to do something, although it is not as expected. But at least Gina was able to do something in Tokyo.
Why didn't they want to first loom down?
Especially in this country, this is what we need. It's to make sure we use the yar all the time and hit the fast to go.
That's hilarious.
So it's important. And we are looking forward to France, and I believe Gina is going to do very well.
And like I said, the concentration shouldn't just be on Gina. You know, it has to go beyond her. We have a lot of Gina Bass. You know, we have a lot of older young athletes there hiding, but it's because they don't see it as something that when they get into it, they can make it.
Exactly. I can remember there was a statement that Gina Bass made. When they sent his video, the video that went on viral, that is the poor athlete. Gina said sometimes she struggles. At times she is not motivated.
Okay, I think we have Babukar C on the line. Babukar, thank you so much for joining us. Babukar C at the Olympic House. Gina Bass arrival. Can you hear me, Babukar? It seems Babukar is warming up to talk to me in relation to the activities happening there.
This is not just a small arrival.
This
is a big arrival. So it's important for us to celebrate it in grand style. Although I'm surprised people didn't go out, Gina, but to come and welcome Gina Bass. You know, I've seen few people at the airport, but outside people should have been there.
Lining
her up, at least giving her confidence. So this will show her the whole country is relying on you. You know, so this would have motivated her.
And I saw Simone's arrival in America. You know, considering the fact that she only participated on the team and the beam, people were out to support her, and she suffered mental health issues. But despite that, the support was very massive.
Yes, I am hopeful, Gambia, sorely, and hopefully things will change gradually, because people are now open to certain things. People are seeing everything. This internet days, people are aware. We are seeing what is happening in other countries. So I believe as time goes on, we will get to realize, some of these things and start taking our people very seriously.
Yeah, and like you said, we are still waiting on Babukar C at the Olympic House to give us updates in relation to Gina Bass' arrival. Can we have Babukar C again? Babukar, I hope you have enough time. You've warmed up already. We've given you enough time. So give me an update now.
I know, Gina, but thank you so very much.
Yes.
I can hear you loud and clear. We have arrived at the Gambian Olympic Committee headquarters, and here we are. With me is first of all the Minister of Youth and Sports, Honorable Bakari Baji. I spoke to him earlier at the airport, but Honorable, here we are at the GNOC. You are live on QTV on the arrival of Gina Bass and co from Tokyo. You've made mention of very important announcement as far as government's commitment to support the GNOC, the GAA, and the authorities concerned to make sure we produce more athletes in coming games and Olympics. But first of all, it's been a very, very historic day. Gambians have come out in their numbers to support this team. How do you feel?
We feel happy. We are glad that people have heeded to the call to come out and welcome Gina. But also it's a sort of support towards Gina and all of the athletes, Ibrahima Kamara, Ibrahima Buaro, and of course Njai Fainjai, who is not here. But again, it's a demonstration of people's love and support for sports, and every Gambian who have gone out there to represent the Gambia and raise the flag of the Gambia to the highest height. And that is what our interest is. Like somebody said, we're a small country. Sometimes people don't even know who we are. But those mentions in those international events raise the profile of the country. But again, we need athletes, we need sports people that can go out there and represent us and do well. And it's development for them. It's some kind of an employment for them, but it's also income generating for them, their families, and the Gambia. So this is the reason why we're happy that it has gone successfully well. And Gina is now heading to the police because, like I've always said, she belongs to the police. She's a police sub-inspector, and I guess the IG would have a ceremony with her.
You agree with me, Honorable, that government has not been forthcoming as expected when it comes to supporting athletes. It has been all over the GNOC, the GAA, who were going out tapping funds. Now that you've seen this achievement under this new leadership and under your leadership, what should we expect from the government going forward, preparing for Tokyo? But even before Tokyo, Gina was telling me that if she has a better performance center to train where other athletes are trained, she can reach the finals.
No, of course, you're right. And the ministry, government recognizes the efforts that have been done by the associations, because the reality is, for a very long time, it has been the GNOC in football, the GFF that have been doing their part. Government chips in, whenever their request comes in, they can put in whatever they're able to. But now we are taking our responsibility as a government, as a ministry, to finance these kind of activities. With the national team football, with these athletics, this very event in Tokyo, government put in money close to $4 million to support, to pay for their tickets and other allowances and others that is related to their going to Tokyo. So we will continue to do that. We are not promising that we'll be able to do everything, but at every time they give us a request, we will see what the budget, what we can do, and then provide that as well. So again, going beyond the activities, for us, our vision is not just to participate. Our vision is to participate and win medals and provide that opportunity for our young people. And that cannot happen unless you invest. So, and that's why I always said that we are going to invest in the infrastructure. We're investing in the human resource as well, in terms of the athletes having the opportunity to go and train outside where they can be able to harness their potential, but also the people that work around them. Football, athletics administrators, the coaches and others, they also need to upgrade their skills and their qualifications. So we'll invest in the people doing their sports. We'll invest in the people managing them as well. And that is a position that government have taken, and we'll continue to do that.
It cannot be said better. Thank you very much, Honorable, for your time. And I hope we will continue creating more Gina Basses and Ibrahima Kamara before Tokyo, before France 24.
That is the hope. That's the hope. We have the talents. Well, what is left is to ensure that we harness those talents and place them at the opportunity for them to train and do well. We're hoping that the upcoming activities, All Africa Games, the Commonwealth, the next Olympics, we would have more and more of Ibrahimas and the Ginas who are going to go out there and represent us and bring us medal back home.
Thank you very much, Honorable, for talking to us. Well, Janaba and Balde, you've heard it cannot be better said by the mouthpiece of the government in this occasion, which is the sports minister. They are ready to invest. They've not been investing. Well, we can also say that they've given them allowances to travel and their tickets. But before that, they need prior activities that athletes need before going to the games, which is the preparation, which was definitely lacking from government. But now they have assured us that they will chip in to support the GNOC and the GAA in making sure that athletes are prepared. You just wait until when there's 6 months also 1 year before competitions start coming in. Athletes need to be prepared for months and years before they can go and compete. And I hope we want to believe and take rewards of the sports minister through the government. At the airport earlier, we had the president was represented by Sheikh Omar Faye, the minister for defense, and he has also said some very, very important words, and that the president is looking forward to receiving these athletes from Tokyo. So going by what they are saying, the future is bright for our athletes. And to the athletes that I spoke to earlier, come to France 2024, they want at least 10 athletes to represent the Gambia. And looking into Tokyo 2020, the delayed Olympics, comparing our performance with other countries, our neighbors did not even have a single qualifier. It was Gambia, Ivory Coast, and Nigeria, at most, that's what you would say, from the sub-region. So at least we've made headlines, and I hope come France 24, we will see the Gambia, not only competing, reaching the semi-finals, but into the finals, and of course, and win medals.
Thank you so much, Babukar. But Babukar, can you take us through the turnout? Because Gambians were asked to go and welcome Gina. So how was the turnout from the ordinary Gambian? That is what I want to know.
Well, we have cars lined up, in a long queue. I can tell you Gambians stormed the airport as early as 7 a.m., to wait for the flight to land for Gina Bass and co. So the turnout, yeah, it could be better, but of course, the turnout that came out was very good, particularly from the athletics family, from the police. Come on, they are not left behind. They are taking ownership of this. The IGP have deployed the police band. He has deployed members of the police team from the sports department. Right now, as we speak, the convoy is going straight to Banjul to meet the IGP at the police headquarters. Because don't forget that Gina is a sub-inspector in the police force. She's a police officer. So the turnout has been very good. The convoy was a very long queue from the airport to the GNC headquarters. And now we are heading to Banjul, where she will meet the police boss. And from there, I understand later this afternoon, she'll be paying a courtesy call to His Excellency.
Gina, at any point or not yet? Did you engage Gina at any point or not yet?
Yes, I did at the airport. The crowd is too much outside, and unfortunately, I can't talk to her again. But I did, and she said it. Her target is to reach the finals, which she failed. But she said again, it's a learning curve. In Rio 2016, she was at the group, at the heats and made it his to the first round, but could not qualify to the semi-finals. In Japan, she reached the semi-finals, but she could not reach the finals. Come Paris, which is 2024, her target is to reach the final, but not only reach the final, but win medal. And she will appreciate it, according to her, if she is moved from Senegal at the High Performance Center to a better camp maybe in the Americas or in the Europe. Because looking at her performance, since Talou left Senegal, she's the only one competing and winning everything, meaning there's not that much competition for her.
Right, that is Babukar C there giving us updates in relation to Gina Bass' arrival. He talked about France 24. I just hope they won't think it's the channel. We're talking about France 24 as in Olympics in 2024 in France. So we need to make that, we need to clarify that. Yes.
The minister mentioned something very important.
Yeah.
Most of the time we concentrate on our athletes. Let's train them well, let's provide for them. But what about those training the athletes?
Exactly, coaches.
These are people too who need to improve. These are people who need prospective advancement.
Yeah.
So it's important. And of course, one thing I like about the whole sport now, the minister, it's a young man. He understands how it feels, you understand? So he will be in the best position to address certain things we need in the sports sector.
All right.
So it's very important. And we are hoping for France 24.
We are looking forward to France 24, not the channel, but France 24 Olympics. So, and special thanks goes to Ajibintu Drama as well for joining us and giving us updates in relation Operation Clear the Roads. It seems Gina Bass hijacked our conversation, but it was worth it. So we will now take a short commercial break. And when we come back, we'll be joined by the Speaker of the Youth Parliament to take us through International Youth Day, its significance, and generally the plight of young people in the country. So let's take a short commercial break. When we come back, we will head right on to that.
To make sure your company's products and services reach your potential
Welcome back, viewers, from that short break. Special thanks to Ajibintu Drame for giving us an update in relation to the Community Watch Operation Clear the Roads right there in Birkama and Costa Road. Now we're heading right on to the social issues, and we are joined by the Speaker of the National Youth Parliament, and he'll be taking us through International Youth Day, which is today. Congratulations. This is your day. It's,
Definitely. Thank you very much, Gina Bass, and of course your co-presenter. And I'm so much delighted to be here. Like you said it, this is our day as young people, and there is no doubt that we're doing all we can to actually celebrate ourselves and reflect on some of the things that we believe could be improved on our side, and some of the things we really deserve better.
All right. So now, what is the importance of setting aside this day? I know the UN General Assembly set aside this day, and they put up a reason why we should actually celebrate this day. But let's give it a Gambian meaning, you know, considering the plight of young people in the country. What should International Youth Day mean for the ordinary Gambian youth?
Thank you very much, Jennifer. International Youth Day for the ordinary Gambian youth would obviously mean an opportunity, a sort of a platform that could be utilized to actually assess the plight of young people. How far have we gone as young people? What are some of the things that we deserve to be given, to be provided for as young people? And how do we as well contribute towards the development of our country as young people? And that actually revolves around what are the realities on the ground as far as the Gambia is concerned.
Okay. So, Ibrahim,
yes,
it's International Youth Day, and I just asked him how important is it in relation to the ordinary Gambian youth. So let's take a look at the plight of young people now.
Yes.
I think that is very important before you come in. The plight of young people in the country, economically, socially, you know, politically. How do you see young people's participation in all of these areas?
When it comes to, I'll start with the economic area. I believe everyone would agree with me that the youth of this country are actually one of the most disadvantaged when it comes to economic development. And that could be linked likely towards the insufficient amount of opportunities that have been provided for young people, especially when it comes to employment. And this has been, you know, a little bit justified by the amount of young people that actually pursue, you know, the irregular migration route. And most of them, it actually has to do with economic disadvantages. Politically, there has been an improvement, especially if you were to compare with, you know, the previous governments we have. Young people are now getting into politics more because, you know, the political space is now a little bit freer. So on that side, I believe there's been a lot of improvement. When it comes to the area of education too, there is much more freedom now. But I believe the educational opportunities are also a little bit lacking, especially when it comes to the issue of giving the young people the required financial assistance for them to be able to pursue their, you know, their goals. And also in terms of the limited amount of fields. For example, you want to pursue a particular career, but because such course is not offered in the Gambia, you actually go for an alternative, which might not suit best what you actually want to get. So the plight of young people in the Gambia is a very wide area, and we could spend the entire day talking about it, but that could just be a guest.
When you talk to young people, most of them will tell you they are not well represented. And what do you think is the problem? Are they represented well, or is there something wrong?
Yeah, that is the reality. Young people are not basically represented adequately as we speak. And this has been linked mostly towards the fact that young people have not been very much involved in terms of decision-making process. Like young people participation in decision-making process has not been as it is supposed to be. But nevertheless, I believe there's been you know, a transformation regarding that, and especially if you look at how civil society has shaped itself now, to an extent that it is able to engage stakeholders much more. The gap is being gradually closed, whereas young people will be able to have their say, have their voice, and make sure that they are actually represented. And the best way in order to ensure youth representation is young people themselves being willing to represent their fellow youth.
Sure.
For example, we're about to have the National Assembly elections. After the presidential elections, young people should first be willing to actually contest in the National Assembly elections, because in the National Assembly is where most of the decisions of government are actually assessed. Is where as well government budgets are being assessed. Is where issues of national concern actually been assessed as well. So if you're a young person sitting in the National Assembly, it means you will have the opportunity to assess how the country is moving and what direction it's going to, how young people have found themselves in that movement, and if no, what are some of the things that are supposed to be done in order to ensure there are changes. Also, we have the local government elections, like the councillor elections, you have the municipality elections, etc. So young people must be willing to come on board to take up these decision-making positions so that they were able to make decisions on behalf of young people that are going to fit them best.
Don't you think the problem that we have is we don't know the position of young people, in the future, because young people are the leaders of tomorrow. Don't you think it's not known how important they are? And what do you think should be done to change this scenario?
This mindset, yeah. Basically, young people are the leaders of tomorrow is something that we always go against. We are the leaders of today, obviously, as you can see.
Today.
Yes, I'm currently the Speaker of the National Youth Parliament. That is a leadership position. We have young people in the National Assembly, people that are below the age of 35. That's a leadership position. But just to amplify that, of course, we have to know that even though we are leaders of today, at the end of the day, we would transcend to the future to take up, much more important positions as far as government and society is concerned. So it's also important, of course, to remind the government of the essence of young people in this country. And one of the aspects of that is the fact that young people form over 60% of the population. That means anything that has to be done, young people should be in the core. On top of that, young people ourselves also have to know how important we are. It means we cannot fold our hands and relax as far as our development is concerned. Because at the end of the day, whatever that is done at government level or even down in the grassroots, it has to affect us, and it will affect us in the future. Because at the end of the day, all these old people will soon resign or retire. But we are the ones that are going to deal with the benefits or the circumstances that are going to come by the decisions that have been made without our involvement. So folding our hands and relaxing is not going to tell well as far as our aspirations are concerned and how our welfare should be taken care of.
All right, so let's draw our attention to the theme of this year's International Youth Day, because the theme for this year's International Youth Day is transforming food systems, youth innovation for human and planetary health. This is very important. I know you're not a farmer or you're not an individual who's into agriculture to some extent, am I right?
I'm a farmer, actually. I do subsistence farming.
You do subsistence farming?
Yes.
Okay, then you're in the right position today.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this. Just recently, just yesterday, let me say, I was watching the minister's statement on International Youth Day, and he called on young people to venture into agriculture. That is what he said. So the question is, how lucrative is the area for young people to have confidence in it, to venture into it? You were talking about subsistence farming. That's what you do. Yeah. So at some point, I know you would want to go into mechanized commercial farming gradually. So how do you think that process can take place smoothly for young people to an extent that they will see the area as lucrative?
Yeah, thank you very much. So farming, itself, by its standing alone in the Gambia, has not been, decorated in such a way that people will be motivated or inspired to get into it. Because there is a mindset that we hold that farmers are people that have already failed in the academic sector, or they do not have the opportunity to go to school, so they actually go to farming, which is totally different. The biggest farmers in the world are actually people that are very educated. They go to university, they learn how to do agriculture, and they make sure they apply the knowledge practically onto farming. So what I would actually advise in order to make sure that young people are able to get into farming is to first change the mindset that farming is not meant for poor people, or it's not meant for people that have failed academically. It's for people that want to contribute towards the socio-economic development of the country and make great revenues for themselves in the first place. But with that too, there needs to be the right conducive environment for farming to take place, not through the usage of tools that are actually, very primitive, that will not be able to, render the services that are supposed to be rendered in terms of farming. Like, people need to be motivated, first through the, the government should be able to assist in making sure that young people are able to access land. Secondly, to access the various machines that are supposed to be used in the farming, like through the development of initiatives that are going to empower people, so that people get into farming, not just get into farming, but produce, plants and crops that will be able to earn them revenue, and that would add up to the government's profit as well. And through that, a lot of young people will be employed. We would we will be on strong footing towards food self-sufficiency, and be able to inspire people to diversify our sources of funding as far as our development is concerned. So it actually contains a lot of facets. We have to change the mindset. We have to actually move away from subsistence farming to mechanized agriculture, and on top of that as well, create the right environment for people to thrive in their business in terms of agriculture.
Don't you think changing the mindset of the young people towards certain areas of life would be very difficult now? Because young people have this mindset that, I mean, as you mentioned, farming it's only for poor people. And that's the reason most of them embarked on the backway journey. And there are many areas in this country that young people can invest on, but they are not motivated. At the end of the time, don't you think this is the problem? It won't make any sense for them to go back to it, because when you look at the rural area, most of the young people have now moved to the urban area, and most of them have also taken the journey. So how do you communicate this to the young people?
Yes, the motivation area is very fundamental, because it is what would give you the required light to actually move ahead. It's what will give you the required energy. Without the motivation, whatever you're doing it because you don't have a choice. So the motivation should be there, not just from the government, but even from our families. Most of the time, if a young man wants to engage in agriculture, or let's say you want to do fishing, they will be like, why are you going into this field? Your colleagues are occupying offices and so on. But the truth is we cannot all be in the offices. But young people have to motivate it from the top up to the bottom, even the society within which we find ourselves. If you go to the rivers, if you go to the gardens and so on, I'm not saying young people will not be there, but it's predominantly dominated by foreigners or our women. It is the old women that you will find there, but you will rarely find young people there, because they don't think they fit, as far as this aspect of profit making is concerned in society. But the reality is we fit very well as far as we are young people, and we have the required skills to be able to do the work. So if young people are motivated, given the right training, capacity building, given the right tools, and also prioritized in the market, that too is very important. Like, you cannot tell a young person, go and farm, and then after farming, I bring out my products, and you don't buy them, you go and buy foreign products. So all of these things, are part of the motivational aspects. And if you look at the theme for this year's celebration of International Youth Day, it is saying that in ensuring food security, it can never be done without the involvement and participation of young people. It means young people have to be at the center of everything that has to do with food production. So it's either we accept it or not, but without the young people, our agricultural sector will not move ahead. Because even the elderly that have found themselves there, they do not believe much in mechanized agriculture, because to them, there is no way they're able to have the required finance to buy themselves machines. Every day in their budget, what they would think of is how to get a new hoe, how to get a new cutlass to actually sort out the grasses before planting and so on. And they find joy in that. Some people actually have the opportunity to use donkeys and horses to assist them in their farming, and that is where the ambition stops. But now it is the other people that actually find themselves in the new generation who understand how technology is actually contributing largely towards development of agriculture. How do we actually bring that up to be able to improve our agricultural sector? Because the moment we are able to sufficiently improve in that, we will be able to ensure that there is food security, and young people must be involved by all means, from the phase 1 up to the last phase. Young people must be involved.
Okay, let's talk about a day like this. It's a day for young people. It's a day for the youth. What are you people doing as a body to involve all the youths in the country? Some might be there, they don't even know it's International Youth Day. A person might be living in Fatoto, Koina, and doesn't even know, and is a young person, a person who can be empowered and make a difference. So what are you people doing to involve everybody?
So the International Youth Day is going to be celebrated by the National Youth Parliament through a webinar. and that's going to be at 3 p.m. Okay. So, a link has already been shared. So, unfortunately, because of COVID, restrictions and challenges, we're not able to go nationwide to be able to reach, the nook and cranny of every young person. But this, since an online event, you'll be able to get people all the way from Basse to be able to take part. And as a National Youth Parliament that has structures across the country, we're able to reach out to every member from every constituency to make sure that from Carton to Koina people are represented to have their voice. So in this, we also were able to get the services of one of the National Assembly members, Honorable Tuma, because they're very fundamental as far as our policies and laws are concerned, to get her on board, and she'll be one of those that will be delivering a speech. We also got the head of the National Youth Council, Mr. Alaji Jaju, as the head of the umbrella body of young people to also deliver a speech. But since the theme also has an aspect of climate change, because we're saying even though we improve in agriculture and take part in it whatsoever, we should also be mindful of our environment. We should protect our planet through the process. We also have one of the most recognized young persons, Fatou Jeng, who actually will be joining us to also deliberate on how our food production should be related to ensuring that we secure the climate. So that is how we're celebrating the International Youth Day, and it's going to be a very fantastic discussion. And I am sure if you guys are free, you're going to join the platform.
We will join. And you said something that is very captivating, the fact that if young people are not actually part of the production process of the amount of food that we need, it might not be successful, because according to the UN, the world's population is expected to increase by 2 million people in the next 30 years. And in Gambia, for example, young people constitute 60% of the population. If they take a lay-back seat, then who's going to feed us? So I think that point that you made is very important. I am told that Gina Bass is heading now to the police headquarters, and we're also informed that the IGP has deployed a lot of members, and as well as life band and all of that, which is very good considering the fact that Gina is part of them, and the Minister of Youth and Sports just talked about the fact that Gina is for them, So how did you feel about Gina Bass's performance? And I think Gina Bass is coming to Gambia on a very good day, considering the fact that today is International Youth Day, and she's a youth, and she's actually an inspiration to a lot of young people who would want to become track queens in the near future.
Thank you very much. I am so proud of Gina. I'm so proud of Gina Bass. And, when actually we were told Gina was going to run, I can remember one of the qualification times for the semi-final was 2:14 a.m. I can fully remember. We were actually reading for exams, but we had to leave everything that we were doing to sit and watch how Gina was actually gonna, break the track apart. So we celebrate Gina, and we are very proud of her, and we made sure that for National Youth Parliament in particular, on our social media handles, we've celebrated her, a lot, and we believe she deserves a lot from this country. Gina is the only athlete I've known so far that has taken the Gambia's name, to this extent. And, there was this day I almost cried because, they were on the lanes. And all I see was the Gambian flag fully displayed on the lane. And we had this young, small Gina who actually has been so much castigated as, a poor athlete. But despite that, she still had the belief that she loved the country, and she was going to do everything possible to make sure that she takes the flag high there. I want to join the rest of the Gambians to appeal to the government to do, great things for Gina. She did not ask for it, but we are asking for it on her behalf, because she deserves it. Even if Gina was actually going to resign or retire from being an athlete right now, she is already the greatest athlete this country has already produced. Not just to motivate Gina herself, but also for the young athletes that are coming up, keeping in mind that this is the space that is there. And when we serve our country, this is a form of recognition we get in return. That alone should be enough to create, a lot of more Gina Basses as far as the future is concerned.
Also, champion, we should send some love to the other Olympians as well. We are sending them love to Faindai and all of the orders. We are sending them love. In as much Gina stole the show. She's a track queen, you guys. What do you expect?
Yes, absolutely.
But we are sending love to all of you, and we want you guys to know that we are so proud of you. Just being able to go there and compete is big. So we're sending love and support to all of you, and you deserve everything in the world as well.
Exactly, Geneva. This is the right time for us to for us to build our system when it comes to athletics, because most people will be looking at Gina, especially those that are at the grassroots coming up. They will be looking at Gina, the motivation, some of the things that they've done for her. You know, as you mentioned, we are not, Gina doesn't ask for it. We are the ones saying the government and all those sectors that are responsible should at least get up and support Gina for tomorrow, because she is the best that we've produced in this country.
So it seems Gina Bass and team will be reaching the headquarters of the police very, very soon. But while we are seeing Gina and co reaching the headquarters, we will also engage you, Omar, in relation to budget, because we know the Ministry of Youth and Sports is together and they share the same budget. Just yesterday we were having a conversation in relation to budget, and you talked about the fact that people sometimes debate about the fact that young people are in other sectors and they tend to benefit from there. But is that a strong argument when it comes to the budget for the Ministry of Youth and Sports, really?
To me, it's not a strong argument, because at the end of the day, if we look at the important role that young people play, you know, in terms of our development, there is no way we can put up a reasoning around that end. At the end of the day, you understand, young people need, you know, the highest amount of resources as far as investment is concerned compared to the other people or the other demographics. And this is because young people in their, you know, in their state of being young, actually, you know, are in their development stage. And in development, you know, every form of investment is needed. So the Ministry of Youth and Sports, if you can, you know, observe well, is a combination of two, you know, areas, sports and youth. Even though most of the people that do sport are young people, but the investment is totally different. You understand? So what could be put in our mind is the fact that sports itself is very expensive in the first place. If the government is to tell you how much it had exactly contributed when it comes to the sports development so far, especially you know, from the Olympics perspective as well as the African Cup of Nations qualifiers, they will tell you a lot of millions are needed for it. When it comes to youth issues as well, a lot of millions are needed for it. You know, you look at, you know, youth unemployment, you look at, you know, youth in academics, you look at you know, youth participation in politics, you look at some of the societal issues that are affecting young people, such as irregular migration, you look at youth security, you know, you look at youth peace building, and all of these sectors that affect young people, youth in agriculture, like, you know, this year's team, you know, is circulated. So all of these things require a lot of investment that requires a high budget to be put as far as, you know, Ministry of Youth and Sport is concerned. The Ministry of Youth and Sport is should be one of the ministries with the highest, you know, amount being allocated for as far as the budget is concerned.
I used to just think that these two ministries should be separated. You just talked about the fact that it's the same young people who participate in sports. But do you think if they're separated, probably that could help? Are you of that opinion?
Well, it could help. But it also has repercussions. I can remember us having a debate at one of the national youth conferences and festival where we were assessing. We actually passed a resolution that the Ministry of Youth and Sports should be separated, to have the Ministry of Youth at the same time the Ministry of Sports. But, you know, issues came up regarding how it will be able to be financed, especially for the fact that, you know, all these ministerial, in all these ministries, there are different positions. You have the minister, permanent secretary 1, permanent secretary 2, and, you know, other staff under the ministry. You also have the agencies in regions and so on. So it will be totally difficult to bring in a, you know, a very new ministry, whereas you will have all these positions duplicated. So that was brought in, you know, as, you know, a reason. And also the fact that it is most of the people that do sports are young people also was brought in. That's why even when it comes to other ministries, the Minister of Women Affairs, I think now children are attached to it and all of that. So I think these are some of the reasons. Myself, when in 2008, I made a recommendation for there to be a Ministry of Children's Affairs. But you understand, you know, that also cannot come to fruition because of reasons like that. So to me, it's not bad for us to have the Ministry of Youth and Sports as one, but let us give it the required, you know, the required support. Let us give it the required finance, you know, the required capacity and so on. We have Bakari Baji, who is a young person who actually, you know, is so motivated to actually develop this country through the engagement of young people. I'm not saying that he's the best we've got so far, but I believe with his experience from being a youth worker, you know, an activist advocate like we are doing right now, and getting into that position, he will understand issues more than a lot of other ministers that will be there. So I want to believe he should be given the right support and let him close the gap between him and the youth of this country. I must say I was very impressed that, you know, he's engaging, you know, at this level, and let that come across the board, the sports, the agricultural sector, and, you know, every other area, to ensure that every young person feels a belonging to the ministry, because that is if the government was a house, like a compound, the Ministry of Youth Sport is our house, where we're supposed to go and sleep, we're supposed to go and shower, where anytime we're tired, we go and rest. Okay. So let them make it, look like that. Let young people feel and take ownership of the Ministry of Youth and Sport.
Yeah, they should not take the youth lightly. It's important. When you look at other sectors, Omar, when you talk about finance, it's available. But when it comes to the youth, it's always a problem. Definitely. So I think we should start realizing it's important for us to be spending on these areas, which will help us tomorrow.
Sure. Yeah. So I hope Gina has already reached. Can you show us how far Gina has gone? I don't know if Gina has reached the headquarters already, and probably she'll be having a special ceremony there with the IGP. Okay, so we will show you that is the police headquarters, as you can see. Gina is welcome there.
I can see the police are taking ownership.
They're taking ownership.
This is our Gina.
So that's the police headquarters there, waiting for Gina Bass' arrival.
Gina Bass, this is all a way of motivating.
Yes.
If you can see police chief welcoming Gina in this manner, it's all a way of motivating her, telling her thank you. And this is all we need. I mean, something that will motivate us to make sure we do very well next time.
Yeah, that is Gina Bass. Gina Bass has arrived at the police headquarters in Banjul.
I think she's with the female coach athletic.
Yeah, the one we featured.
Yes.
We can see ASP Superintendent Lamjai rather there.
This is beautiful.
Yes, this is beautiful. She's holding the Gambian flag, and you did just mention that it's Gambia. In as much as Gina is the athlete, but it's about Gambia. She went there to represent Gambia. So Babukar C, can you hear me? Babukar, can you hear me? Can you engage Gina Bass at this point?
Yes, Jennifer, I can hear you. I can hear you loud and clear. But it's unfortunate that we have just arrived at the police headquarters.
So Babukar,
in Banjul, Gina will be received by Inspector General of Police. But it's very crowded here. It's very crowded, and I'm struggling to get you. But I can tell you that Gina is being received the hierarchy of the police here at the headquarters in Banjul. And as I said earlier, Gina is a sub-inspector, and she's been with the police for quite a while. And here she is, the hierarchy is receiving Gina.
Babukar, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Jennifer, now.
All right. So, Babukar, what can you see around you? I can see excitement. What can you see?
Yes, as I said earlier, we've just arrived at a final destination, which is the police headquarters in Banjul. As I said earlier, Gina is a police officer. Now, the police will not be left behind in ceremonies like this and situations like this. So we here is the final point of call where she will meet the police hierarchy and the Inspector General of Police, and the police advisors. They are all here to receive Gina. And the ambience, I can tell you, is huge. Banjulians also have really come on the streets to wave on Gina, and here we are finally at the police headquarters.
This is beautiful. It is. Yes. Yeah. And I'm happy about the fact that the Gambia Police Force have decided to take ownership of this, considering that's where she works. And Omar, I've been talking about the fact that even if you're Lionel Messi, even if you're Cristiano Ronaldo, it's good to have a career path that you can accompany with whatever sport that you're doing. It is important. Yeah, and Gina has demonstrated that it's not just being an athlete, but also looking for another way to contribute to national development. Okay, so now let's just go and enjoy the live band right there. I'm already dancing in the studio, so let's take a look at that, and we'll be right back. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, as said earlier, we have arrived at the police headquarters, and here the police the spokesperson, of course, who is the Lamin Jai,
right
will be speaking on
Gina
behalf.
Bass and live band there. I'm enjoying it already.
Definitely.
Yeah, so like I said, it is important that Gina is looking for a second way of actually contributing to national development. That is ASP Lamin Jai to deliver a statement.
Spokesperson is ready to deliver a speech. Yes.
Thank you, man, to tell you that the Gambia Police Force is very proud to welcome Sub-Inspector Gina Bass after the terrific performance he has done at the Olympics 2021. And so today here with us, I have the police advisor, Mr. Siaka Sonko. He's here with us. You're welcome. We also have the Assistant Inspector General of Police Administration, Mr. Ibrahim Abba. He's here with us. You're present. We also have the Deputy Crime Management Coordinator, Deputy CMC, Deputy Commissioner Buba Sar. He's here with us. And also we have the Deputy Inspector General of Police, Mamadou Sow. Sir, you are welcome in our midst. Just not to make us stay here for long, we would like to go straight to invite the Deputy Inspector General of Police to deliver a welcoming remark to welcome and show how appreciative and proud we are as far as our officers' achievement, Sub-Inspector Gina Bass is concerned. So you are welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Piero, and thank you everybody who is here today. First and foremost, I want to recognize and thank the team, the members of the team of the GRC who went with Gina to represent the country in Japan. And I want to thank everybody that is here today and to show our appreciation and delight of having Gina back with us here with a tumultuous welcome that is following her. And in that regard, this is just a show of strength. She has represented the country well, and this is just the beginning. Like in 2015, I'll always want to call this. I said this and I will say it again. As far as she is concerned, this is just the beginning. She can do more than this, and we appreciated what she has done, and we wish her the very best, and the best of luck to her and her team with her colleague here who is with us today. We very much appreciate her presence with us, and we are wishing her well, herself, her family, her friends, her colleagues, and the entire security fraternity in the Gambia, all the services that are in the Gambia and the Gambian population as a whole. I have seen the tremendous amount of comments, goodwill comments, messages. They were just raining like thunder and lightning from the sky. It's very much appreciated, and an opportunity to thank the entire Gambian population, those that are here and outside the country, for their tremendous support and during her stay in Japan. Once again, I want to congratulate all of us here, the entire Gambian population as a whole, from the head of state to the last person, and on behalf of the Inspector General of Police, who would have loved to be here, but owing to one reason or another, he has delegated me to speak on his behalf here and to welcome Sub-Inspector back and wish her the very best and wish her well with all her colleagues, with the entire Gambia Police sport fraternity and the interior family as a whole. Once again, just to conclude, to inform her as a prize that in her absence, somebody has given her a land and is going to build that compound to the finish and give her keys. That's just a welcoming thing. We appreciate and we thank the person. I will not mention the person names here, but I thank her from the bottom of her heart on behalf of the entire Gambian people. Gina, this is a surprise cake for you, you have been given a compound which is going to be built from start to finish, inshallah, by the grace of Allah. Not but by the single person who have done that. We have taken that commitment and we've started the work in earnest. For your information, once again, I thank all of you here present, and I wish you well, yourself, your team, your colleagues, and everybody in this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Let's clap to that, really. Let's give a big round of applause. And so the information is that Gina Bass has been given a compound and it will be built to finish, and then the keys will be handed over as a show of appreciation for the tremendous and terrific achievement he has made at the 2021 Tokyo Olympics. Thank you all so much. I think the celebration will continue from here, and thank you all so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jennifer. I've heard you've heard that. That's the surprise package from the police hierarchy, that someone have contacted them that they'll buy a land, build the house from start to finish, and hand over the keys to her. And this is done by a Gambian. Let me see, Gina, you want to say something? This is a surprise that no one expected. A house that will be handed to you, the keys, and this is done by someone that don't want to be named. But how do you receive this information?
It's really a shocking information, but I'm really happy for whoever have done this for me, and God will continue blessing the person. And thank you, Gambia Police Forces, for your support too. I really appreciate it from you.
Thank you very much. Gina said it's a huge surprise, and she really appreciates it, and thank the Gambia Police Force hierarchy for the welcoming, and of course the opportunity they continue to give her. As a police officer, you know, one would have expected that she will be asked to go to do her work, but they have given her the chance and the free will to continue practicing her sport, which is very rare, you know, and they continue to support her. You know, we saw the rousing welcome that they gave her in 2016 from Rio, and again here we are from Japan, the delayed 2020 Olympics. Thank you very much, and back to you to the studio. That's all about Gina Bass, and of course more on the news later tonight.
Much Babu Karsi for that, and I am so happy that Gina Bass has this particular surprise. We are really happy here. And we also want to send love to Ibrahima Kamara as well. Ibrahima Kamara, we want to send love to you. We want you to know that we are proud of you, and considering the fact that you were able to qualify during the preliminaries, and he's able to.
This is his first time going to the Olympics.
Yes.
He's done very well.
Yeah.
And we are hopeful and wishing you luck next time.
Yeah, good luck for your performance. So, yow sa haftaan lan la?
Bi Cham Creation na de ibo.
Man it suma grand bu lan la Cham Creation.
Bi pour mer rek waaye sa grand bu baax.
Suma grand bu lan la nga ma wara laajte. Wax ma ko.
Bi dafa grand.
Suma grand bu lan la?
Bi mané jé lan la. Ba jama.
Anyway, thank you so much.
Cham Creation nañ joxe number mi.
399-4919
399-4919. Cham Creation Ibo Town. More definitely.
And we want to say a special thank you to Omar Cham, the Speaker of the National Youth Parliament, for giving us a rundown when it comes to the International Youth Day and giving a lot of recommendations as well. So we really thank you for your time. Cham Creation, jërëjëf, appreciate nañ outfit bi. Suma grand bu ba lan la ak sa xaftaan lan la. Bye for now.